From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on your MTN statewide news on this Friday. I'm Andrea Lutz. In just 2 weeks, the COVID-19 PFIZER vaccine could be rolled out across the U.S. and clinical trials show it's more than 90% effective. But how comfortable are people with taking it? Well, one new poll shows there's still a lot of uncertainty. A new Gallup poll shows 58% of Americans say they would get the vaccine. That's up from 50% in September. But still are many concerned. Health officials say the speed with which it's being released isn't compromising its safety. And if you don't want to get vaccinated, it's highly unlikely you'd get fired for not taking it. However, besides religious reasons, employers could try to require it. European Airlines is starting delivery flights for COVID-19's vaccines, and some of Europe's largest carriers are stepping up to ship the precious medical cargo. This as factories abroad increase their output. The doses are both time and temperature sensitive, some even repurposing passenger aircrafts to speed up deliveries. Montanans looking for unemployment benefits from the pandemic will receive an additional $200 through the end of the year. The $25 million in relief comes from leftover CARES Act funding. Eligible Montanans are those who are receiving unemployment benefits under pandemic assistance. The Montana Department of Labor has paid out $8.6 million to some 20,000 Montanans. Across the country, in California, a second major wind-driven wildfire is taking over Orange County. The fire started Wednesday night at a house in Silverado Canyon, and it spread fast. It exploded to more than 7,200 acres. Now mandatory evacuations cover several of those canyon communities. Obviously, Ed, they're dealing with a lot of drought in California. It always makes us wonder, how's our drought situation?
You know, actually, it is a concern, and it's part of what we're going to be talking about as we get into the weekend. First, let's start over to the western portion of the state where we have something else that's close to what we would normally see in the summertime or late summer, and that's air quality issues. We've got some areas of western Montana where inversions have been setting up, and so that allows a lot of the particulates to escape up into the atmosphere. We've got warmer air that's in place, so actually aloft in the higher elevations is a little warmer, and that cold air trapped close to the surface is also trapping not only smoke and fumes, but also some of the cloudiness and, of course, the cold temperatures. So that's going to keep things chillier in the western valleys. Meanwhile, into the eastern plains, thanks in part to that drought situation that we've been experiencing and the very dry weather lately, we have fire weather concerns through the weekend. We'll talk more about that and all the forecast details coming up.
The Flathead County Health Board approved opening negotiations for a new health officer who is familiar with the role. The health board says they're talking with Joe Russell to come back to the position. Russell served as Flathead County's public health officer until 2017. They want him to start as soon as possible if approved. He'll take over for that interim health officer, Tamale Robinson, who has resigned. In Montana politics, the 2021 legislature is just about a month away. The solid Republican majority already busy working on its priorities. Plans call for a conservative state budget, making regulatory reduction a requirement in state law, also market-based healthcare reform and greater privacy for personal digital information.
Of course, there are going to be bits and pieces of each of those plans that individuals might not agree with 100% of the whole thing. But I do think that the overall goal of it, protecting people's, personal rights, personal privacy, and reducing the expansion of government to the extent that government is being efficient with what we need it to do.
And GOP leaders say they'll be consulting with Governor-elect Greg Gianforte and even minority Democrats on how they can advance an agenda to revitalize the state's economy. The 2021 legislature is scheduled to start on January 4th at the Capitol in Helena. Lewis and Clark County is planning to bring in new equipment to help keep COVID-19 out of the county jail. It comes in the form of a nearly $21,000 grant from the Montana Board of Crime Control. The sheriff's office will use the money to purchase a temperature scanner, a new fingerprint scanner so they can book people in a safe distance, and a sprayer to quickly disinfect residential pods. Sheriff Leo Dutton says they hope to have the equipment within a few weeks. One Butte man who has never bothered to get a flu shot is now stressing the importance of getting vaccinated after he fought a tough battle with COVID-19. MTN's John Amy tells us how he hopes everyone gets vaccinated once it becomes available.
Tom Cronley almost never gets a flu shot, but after a bout of COVID-19, he said he wouldn't hesitate to get vaccinated.
For this thing, knowing what I know now, I would be the first in line to do that.
The Butte businessman was floored by COVID-19 earlier this fall, and his recovery was long and difficult.
I tell you, COVID is not like the flu. It came on quick. I was fine, and next thing you know, I'm in bed, and I was sore and lost taste. It was brutal, and it lasted a good 10 days of just being miserable.
The governor announced this week that Montana will receive about 10,000 doses of the PFIZER vaccine, which will go to nurses and residents at long-term care facilities. Thousands more are expected to arrive after the initial shipment.
Get your shot and then go to a bar and have a shot. Let's celebrate the fact that our life can get back to normal.
Once this vaccine becomes readily available to the public, Cronley, who's a local businessman, says he hopes everyone in the community chooses to get vaccinated.
Our economy is driven a lot by the festivals and Music on Main and St. Patrick's Day, and those type of events are really hurting a lot of businesses in this town. So the sooner we all get the vaccine, the sooner we get some level of normalcy back.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
All right, thanks, John, for that story. And also, the first round of doses are expected by December 15th, but it may be a while before it is readily available to the general public here in Montana. Shares of PFIZER fell nearly 2% a day after its vaccine was approved for emergency use in the UK. And here's why. It comes after the drug maker said it would ship about half the doses it promised this month. PFIZER is still aiming to produce over 1 billion doses in 2021. Its vaccine is on track to be approved in the United States as soon as next week. A powwow drum group led by a member of the Blackfeet Nation is nominated for its 8th Grammy Award. The Black Lodge Singers, led by Blackfeet tribal member Kenneth Scabby Robe, are nominated for the Best Regional Roots Music Album. He's led the group for nearly 40 years, even though they are based out of Yakima Nation in Washington State. The Black Lodge Singers were first nominated in 2000 for the Best Native American Music Album. Good for them. The Grammy Awards, in case you're wondering, they will air on January 31st. Well, here is an opportunity, in case you are wondering, to help out those in need this holiday. The United States Postal Service. Its Operation Santa program, it's kicking off this week. It starts today, and you can visit the website to find a child in need and read a letter. You can then purchase gifts, wrap them, and take them to your local post office, and that's where Santa handles it from there. And there's still time for families also to sign up. Letters will be accepted through December 15th if you are yourself in need. We do have more news ahead on this Friday version of the Noon News, including this. We're getting a closer look at changes that are happening to ski areas around Montana as they open for the winter under some new COVID-19 guidelines, though. And Ed is back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.